Alright, this is a legacy game with a few twists and turns. Basically, I'd been playing some fresh air and not feeling good, getting burst too hard, too much counter pressure. There's a particular Mesmer build with lots of stun lock that was really nasty as well. As soon as Twist of Fate's out, you're kind of KO'd. Anyway, so I'm a Mantra Mez, and we're on Legacy, and like I said, lots of twists and turns. So let's jump on in and see how we go. Looking at our composition here, you can see we don't have any really well-defined DPS carries, and neither do we have any really well-defined supports. We do, however, have some side node capacity. Chrono, I don't really know how to assess right now. I'm not sure what specific variant of Chrono this actually is, though I think the player had been playing quite a lot on the day. We got a Daredevil. So it's a really weird, ill-defined comp that I'm not confident in whatsoever as I come into this game. So we'll just see how we do, I suppose. I'm thinking as this all starts that they're going to be more meta, they're going to be more oriented properly, and we'll probably lose out, even if our individual players are better than their individual players. So anyway, they go for the stealth. I don't want to use the Torch 4, which is a blast, and could potentially maybe do something here. Instead, what I'm going to do is wait for about the last second of the black powder to run out, and then I'm going to ambush in it, like so, and what that will do is give me a ton of stealth. In fact, if this is the game that I think it is, we actually have a ton of team play and re-stealthing, which is awesome. No, it's definitely not, because we're going in for the burst. So it's Daredevil. I'm trying to catch him at the right moment at the end of his dodge, but he's staff, as I now realize, and with that vault there, he kind of evades a ton of extra stuff. So don't get too much. Right now I'm feeling a little bit vulnerable because, you know, I've pressed quite deep. Luckily the hollow's not really on me. We've got a good split surge there as well. A reasonable amount of might. The hollow got punched down pretty hard and immediately forced into S, so he's the best target now that we know there's only one. He's trying to bail out, so I go for one last split surge bit of pressure here. The autos honestly aren't too bad, but he gets away. So you notice I turn around here very quickly. It's because some of my teammates might be getting hit really hard. You don't want to pressure too fast there, because he could just get through the door and whatnot. And I always think it's a bit newbie to go right up to the gate and pressure people so much while everything else gets decapped behind you. So I turn around and immediately realize I'm a bit outnumbered. So I chance a GS4, but it gets obstructed right on the corner of this. So I stand here just to bring my mantra back up. This is a core guard we're against. He's burst in on me. I was feeling very vulnerable at this point, for what it's worth. We take the dodge away. We double stealth up, and we actually proc stealth on this guy at the same time as well. Mass Invis has a really beautiful range on it, and we pull right round the side and all the way to the back here, going for the combat break. You're gonna see I'm very passive in these next stages of the game. So mid's lost, and what I'm thinking rotationally right now is, okay, maybe we can help close, so like as a bit of a regroup or something, since I can't do anything in mid. But as I consider that, I see that my Mesmer ally is still kind of hovering here. So I think, okay, maybe I can rotate and pair up with him and do something. And then I see that there's the downstate here. So I'm just kind of wondering where I want to engage. And this might look horrendously passive and slow. And to some degree, it kind of is. But I get in. Now the idea is to hold the node contested. So I get just on the edge. My friend might want to distort or stealth or whatever. So basically, I'm just going to try and do what I can to score some decap. The enemy Mirage has now just stealthed, so we've prevented them from capping this, which is pretty good. The hollow stealths in, and we get jumped by a thief, so it's suddenly really bad. And I take a very heavy gap create there to get away. Wait, was that the thief on me, or was that just the Mirage really weirdly retargeted? Anyway, so now my dude's pressured off, and this guy potentially could be a bit annoyed with me, and I think it would be fair to, because he was taking a lot of aggro and a lot of heat there, and I didn't really provide too much counter pressure at the time. But this Mirage was just stealthing and detargeting and stealthing and detargeting. I didn't really have my opportunity. And even now, I'm quite amazed at that build's potential to come at me after such a long period of time. But with the thief in the area, you know, this is just pretty dangerous. So I take a dodge and I chance for a power block proc on him, which would give him weakness and make me feel a bit safer. We're going to walk back into this mirror, giving us an ambush. Then we're going to dodge with distort for another ambush, and we distort still there. And then we can distort through again through the gate. Knowing he's turned around instantly, I come back out. I've got my Mirage procced and my Mage, sorry, procced. He just cleaves my clones. I realize I don't have my mantra up, so I'm staying near the door. This is good because at least he's been eliminated while my team fights over the node. And so far we haven't really had map control, but if they can get that decap, it won't be too bad. And there you go, it just ran on through. So that's good. Still very passive, very slow gameplay from me. I chance a Mirror Blade up there. We do it with a Divert. I see that the guy's trying to, like, potentially trying to peel out. So I blink up onto the wall, then he goes back in the other direction. I don't think that there was a better target for me to take here. So now my ally's down, so I try an Illusion of Life it. But they cleave this, like, let's rewatch that. Look how fast they cleave this body, okay? So it's my Mirage goes down. You're not going to see any good value out of Illusion of Life this game. So he just went down, and I've triggered the cast time here. We kind of fall, and it slows me down a bit. But, I mean, they cleave it very hard. And what that's going to be is the Staff Thief, the Hollow, and a freaking Core Guard on that body all at once. In fact, this animation, what is that? Is that a part of the Staff auto-attack chain? I really don't know, to be honest. We're also being burst at the same time. You saw I got about 1,000 evades there. I have my own Mirage BS at least. So I stealth and pull back. So I'm pretty grumpy about that. Now I want to re-engage, so I'm going to do it with a Mass Invis. It's not a very high value Mass Invis. Could have used it maybe to peel someone out a bit later. We'll see that later in the match. And I can't really blink up the side anymore. And I'm not on sword, so I can't like sword 3 either. I just swapped off. Nonetheless, we do think that there's still targets nearby. It's been a weird fight, really, with so much aggro shaking on all on the sides of both parties. Not much focus from anyone. Here again, I'm concerned about getting Core Guard burst, so I pull back. Walk back into this mirror to ambush again. Oh no, I guess I stealth and reproc my mantra. So here I'm thinking, do I want to plus close, which we don't own and is on their node, right? Or do I want to help in mid, which is obviously collapsing? This guy, even if I was fighting really aggressively here, we're outnumbered, okay? So I was considering this, but I have a Mesmer over there that's already going to help that. So I decide mid, and then I come back because the guy's dead, so I come back here. And you might be scratching your head thinking, is this really good quality gameplay? You should be. One of the reasons I want to show this on Game of the Day here today is just to show how passive and just sort of how much of a brick wall the enemy team feels right now, right? Like everywhere I've gone, it's just invulns and blocks and just... I've not landed any of my burst windows. That might be bad gameplay from me. They might feel just like really, really, really invulnerable almost. But you'll see that there's two halves to this game, and they're really interesting to compare to one another. So I sort of don't mind if this looks really kind of weird. Anyway, so, you know, this guy's chaining mitigation. He goes into the Chrono Shield. Core Guard comes towards me. I need to offer pills for my friend. I can't really do it. Take a mage, ambush back through the door. There's not much I can do. My ally just wandered past me and is going in there, but I don't value the fight. I think I'll go for a decap on far because that's probably not being guarded because they're so heavily towards our close. So there I take a mind rack to give myself vigor so that I can jaunt more, not jaunt, so that I can illusory ambush more frequently, or whatever the sword ambush is called, I can't remember. Illusory ambush is the utility. Anyway, then as I'm going, so there's a bit of attempted mind games here, but the guy sort of doubles through and realizes. So what's happening, if you watched yesterday's game when I was on Fresh Air, you saw me doing this. Basically, his entire team is pushed over, and he is watching these two nodes. He's watching respawns. He's on the cliff. You're seeing it from the other perspective now if you watch yesterday's video. So I was going for the decap, but he's marking me. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to stealth. And before I stealth, I'm moving in this direction, which is going to make him think, hopefully, that I'm bursting mobility over to that node to go for the decap. What I'm instead doing is trying to go for a decap mid. Now, he shouldn't suspect that I'm doing that because he has an ally there and he would think that I'm foolhardy to go for that, but I'm banking on the ally walking up the cliff. And basically, I'm hoping for him to pop blink over to the node. But he sees right through the plan, and so here I'm still in stealth, right? But he's just turned around. He has no tip-off for this. I could be on that node right now about to de-stealth. And you'll notice that actually, when I finally do leave stealth, which is about now, he's still about in the middle of the two nodes. No matter where I appeared, he could blink to wherever it is. So it's good positioning. So now I've got the Hollow, and I'm like, oh, I could fight the Hollow. But obviously the guy that was just marking me is going to pressure me anyway. I'm in a 1v2, right? So there's not much I can do until my allies get established somewhere, until this fight does something. So now I'm moving up here. Look at how much prolonged clunk and awkwardness there is. They're double our points right now, right? So as I move up, I see my allies just being pressured in a 0 win condition scenario. He goes towards the node. There's not much that I can do. Everybody's just wholesale abandoned my soul beast here, and I don't understand why. So I go in to try and help because we have this respawn here. I take my target on their chrono and get good damage. For once, I get to do a bit of damage. In the meantime, the Mirage we were flirting with earlier has just scored a kill against my team, so that's not good. But also, we managed to get a lot of might and stuff, a lot of good cleave here, so this was really nice. We hit this chrono very hard. The ally of mine got a kill. And now I can shatter that, plus the mage impact, and voila! Yay! I mean, we had to plus that, but we've actually won an engagement, so hooray. Looking towards mids, this is actually incredible. What's been going on here? What am I looking at? Is this our... This is our Daredevil. Has got this target this low, this target, and he's under fire from this guy, who's presumably only just got here, but still. Wow. Anyway, he's created a really nice scenario. I know he's trying to peel out, so I open up with a mass invis. He's stealth now out here. He will have his own stealth mechanisms. I think if we rewind ever so slightly... Here, he blinding powders, but that's all he's got. He doesn't have a field for that leap. So he's about to de-stealth. I'm watching his... I've got him targeted, right? So you can see that's his stealth, which is about to run out. And this is mine that's created a bigger cushion for him. There you go, right at the perfect time. So anyway, this isn't neutral. There's no reason to fly onto the node too quickly. The enemy team now doesn't know where I am. He is all the guy behind me, for what it's worth. So that's why you can see they suddenly start being a little bit more cagey. Hollow's a great target. And we get a good burst here. This is a pretty standard Mirror Blade combo. You'll start seeing me doing that more on this build as time goes forward. Where we use the Mantra at the same time. So we just stack a ton of on, get a good burst. It's also got supplementary damage from my Thief. He doesn't have Elixir S. And he gets Pulmonoried in the middle of his movement away. He gets interrupted. So that's beautiful with the autos. So we've now just got 3 kills. They're starting to come back through. We need to cleave this, but also decap. And I noticed none of my team was decapping, so I took the port off to the side to deal with that. They still hold the node, but this Mirage is going to be pressured off of it in just a moment. Yeah, the Mirage, sorry. I thought it was the Chrono for a second. Yeah, I'm trying to get my Mantra back up. I'm just trying to not eat too much cleave. Core guards represent a very serious threat, so I always have to kite away very aggressively. A lot of my positioning in this game has been just keeping far away from core guards. So that's what I'm doing here again. I try and turn it around as soon as I'm in stealth to give him a bit of extra pressure. That was a bit clunky. If I just picked up the mirror and chained the autos, I could have got a free split surge, but instead I was in the middle of casting the mind blast, mind stab, whatever it is. Come around the corner and just weak it. So now he's got no opportunities and he's cutting in the wrong direction. So this is really good. We're actually about to win our 2-cap finally. Take the mind rack to finish that off. Can bleed that body as well, which is really good. They've got nothing basically. We have more than enough numbers, so I don't necessarily need to go over there. I guess I do, just to be 100% sure. Here's a res attempt. Yeah, so this was a bit of a mistake of mine. I should have seen that res. It's not a bit... Well, hold on. Let's rewind this. Let's see how bad this is. Let's be impartial about our own gameplay here. So, first question is this a good rot? I think yes, because we have a ton of numbers here. I haven't really got a great idea of respawns, but I have my ranger nearby as well. I know that he's pushing away, but I'm not necessarily to know that in the moment. This is pretty good. I mean, maybe I could have got him a bit lower, and obviously he's a guardian. I think for now, based on all the input I have, that's an okay bleed. And maybe I'll go for more bleeds than I should. So that's fine. And then as I trade out, he's here to watch the body. Though this obviously was a waste of time. I wasn't to know that. You know, the disengage potential is quite high. And as I turn around, the res is going in. So what was my tip? Where did this player come from? What was my tip off there? Because there was at no point that mid was threatening to flick in the other direction. He must have stealthed to move. I don't know where he came from. At least on post commentary anyway. So anyway, it's a mistake. I go for an eye wave, but there's no interrupt. We go for whatever cleave we can. Looks like there was a hollow there. Was it a hollow that was resin the whole time? I thought it was a mesmer. I guess Elixir S. Anyway, so, all right. So basically, once the res goes through, the fear is that I'll suddenly get burst because I have no heal and I also have no gap creator. So it's actually a dangerous scenario for me to be in. I'm mostly relying on counter bursting, which I just did, and blinds, and a tiny bit of stealth. So, yeah, we pressure what we can, and I'm on, such as my cooldowns are right now, I don't really have a great burst available. So I should just, like, try and keep somewhere safe. So I stealth, ambush, and I come to this no port. because at any point, if the core guard's smart, he'll see me, and I'm like a free kill here. I'm such a free kill, except that I came to stand here. So that's good, and if they try and cut away in any of this direction, I can actually cleave them down with a Greatsword, which is exactly what happens. This guy's here. I establish a mage down there. He gets a really nice line of sight here, to tell you the truth. My weapon swap cooldown wasn't quite perfect. But here you see we can get the full pressure. Again, you notice how he moved in? I'm wondering if he was actually trying to create... Because this is about 1200 range. That's why I'm able to auto him. Any halfway decent core guard would judge his intervention to a target like me right now to create a big gap. Not even necessarily to try and kill me, just to create a gap and run off. But he can't. And I wonder if he tried to cast it or not. I have no way of knowing. But anyway, basically we're just being safe there while my team helps clean it up. We're going to cleave this very quickly now. And now that we've had, what, back-to-back 3 pretty positive engagements, and they did well on fire, had nothing to do with, we've actually just 3-capped them. So what was an awful game earlier, and you'll notice as well, we got good rot on the body over here, and we have good rot currently going on these roads. So I just need to watch this. Turning around. So right now I have my Ranger and Thief pushing up from their victory. So there's no reason for me to be at mid. I can snowball through here. It's more movement efficient for me to already be moving. And we ripple through the whole map, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm free to come do these. There's 2 great targets, obviously. This 2v2, as far as my half of my team's been doing, they've been doing excellent. This guy's in Daggerstorm, though, so not a great target. I'd rather change target. Which we do here. I'm not sure why I waved there. Not very good. Maybe I was concerned that the thief had come back in towards me. You got to be vulnerable. Careful of that as well, because they'll try and take plasma from you. Luckily, we actually have 3 mesmers this game. So, he's got all the plasma he likes. He doesn't need to take it from me. So, we snowball this. I don't know. I wish I'd got some better, like... I don't know, because it's not a one-shot build. You can't really think of this as a one-shot thing anymore so much. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm disappointed in exactly. I think I've played conservatively. Maybe a little bit too conservatively with positioning. But dying is such a punishment. Going towards the hollow. Obviously concerned here because we're towards close point. Oh, I think this was quite a nice bit. I blink up to the edge and I stand on the edge. Which means when this guy tries to axe Mirage in a second. Axe 3. There it is. He stays under the ledge. Do you see that down there? This is just a clone. He's underneath, and he never managed to get up. And that saves me from an ungodly amount of damage. So that's pretty good. Obviously, I can't stop this decap going through, and I'm 1v2. This guy just overcharged shot a clone, which is also nice. Just more free stuff I get to do as a Mirage, I guess. And I'm just waiting here and standing and watching for an opportunity, because I just need an ally to be there, or I need one of them to leave, and then I can take a 1v1, which is exactly what's happened. They actually both zerg off here. So then I decide, all right, I can go in for it. I stealth up and move towards the nodes. I am assuming right now that the hollow's totally left, but you'll notice here he's in the process of de-stealthing. So now I'm caught with my pants down, and I'm in this 2v1 that I was trying to avoid. So I bail back and register that it is genuinely only the hollow. Try and turn around slightly out of range on GS4. I give them full cap, but I'm not too concerned about that. Overcharge shot, just keep out of range as much as possible. My Daredevil's in, so we can go for a good kill. I just need to close the gap. We haven't popped his Elixir S just yet. There was a tip-off that told me that I should go for big interrupts. Let's see. Well, first of all, he's in Forge, so we know that he's going to go for big power pressure. I think maybe it was the leap, maybe... No, I think it was just after the leap. I think that was a Corona Burst. I interrupted his Corona Burst, which actually denies him stab and stuff as well if I hadn't dodged, which I couldn't because I didn't have the endurance. So yeah, that's pretty good. Plus the blinds. He's forced into S. It's a scary thing being against this build plus a Daredevil at the same time. He makes the jump up a pretty strange grave, to be honest. And now I can actually just kill him with autos if I really want to. The F2 shatter from earlier finishes him very comfortably. So, a little bit awkward from my team. I think basically, you can see how the 3 cap has completely evaporated. What happened there is, after the enemies all respawned, they did have the full 5 represented. And because they were kind of, what's the words? They, like, coalesced. Well, that's not the word. Basically, they zerged a little bit on some of the nodes. So here I'm, and that gave them victories on sides while we held mid, right? So basically, here I saw that my allies were low and it was obviously taken to the roads. If one of them was kiting towards me and I precast mass invis and blinked forwards, it could have, like, helped one of them. It's actually a bad mass invis. And I'm seeing on this game of the day, actually, I'm doing quite a few bad mass invises. Well, this might not be bad because it stealths me as well. Anyway, that could have maybe been a bit better. The other thing is, though, obviously it stealths me. So I'm now invisible, coming towards this guy. And here you'll see the closest thing you can get to a classic burst. This dude doesn't see me, and he's been in a fight already. He's not likely to have his dodges. So I'm casting the Berserker. Once that's set up, I go Mirror Blades. The Mirror Blade strikes him. I go the Mantra for a power block proc. And I go F1. If I'd thrown a dodge in as well at the same time, I would have had another clone, and it would have been an even bigger burst. I maybe need to reset my keybinds a little bit here. But basically, the result is that a fairly healthy core guard, 71% health. We can get a... That's like the dream shatter there. And so we can kill that guy. Chain of dodges because of the Daredevil. And having swept that through, that means we can reclaim this. Now all I'm going to do is get back to mid and plus my ally who was left there. So we get there. We're trying to get on the node in time, but we realize we're not going to get it. We stealth early. This guy's low. Don't forget, we do have Illusion of Life, so we're thinking about Illusion of Life a lot of these situations. But my ally's low. He ends up being able to get out. We get some good cleave there with the Split Surge. And even more. So what was really beautiful about this Split Surge, which you should try and do as much as possible. It was just good luck for me here. One of my beams was aiming on the clone here. And he kited in such a way that he got hit by the primary beam. And also, the second beam went through him to hit the clone. So I actually got a double hit, basically. And you can do that over bodies and things a lot. Any old school Lich form users will know that that idea very, very comfortably. So we move up. We don't really have a Mantra here. I'm just trying to get a good immob. I don't get it. I reproc my Mantra. None of us stayed to full cap. So I go to take the full cap and interrupt that bandage. I want to keep this low now since the res earlier. He has poison and everything. So this hollow is going for a res in stealth. So we know we need to do lots of pressure. However, without a target, it's actually really hard for me to properly, you know, I can't target and Mantra here. What I can do is like try and no scope with the Mirror Blade, which is where you essentially just cast in the area and hope that the bounces will land. You can cast this, and then the only other thing I can do is like dodge there so that I get a clone. And then, wait, do I, without a target, does that even work? And just blindly use the F3. That's all I can really do. So here you'll see I go for a split set, but that's not going to do anything. Here's the no scope Mirror Blade, which we do cast, and I don't get any might. So I think what happened here is my no scoped Mirror Blade hit his mini form, which meant it dissipated and it didn't do anything. And I was slightly to the right. Anyway, he's going for the res, the big res. We do get some good cleave. The second he leaves us, that's when I proc the first Mantra, and that gets the formal interrupt, which you just watched there. He goes fight on walls, so we try and move around the side of him so that our next strikes will actually do something, which they're an interrupt, so they will. I know that my team's probably got that handled, and you notice how hands-off I am with the body. As soon as the hollow's off it, it doesn't really matter too much. We're actually starting to take a reasonable point score lead now as well, and we still have map dominion. This is me coming to plus this 2v2. So my team in a 2v2, they've lost the 2v2 essentially. One of my guys is dead and the other one's in kite mode already. So trying to turn this 2v2 around with a bit of a late plus. Just throwing pressure out as best I can. Core guard might be a little bit concerned after he got burst a bit earlier. We go for the immob and he cleanses dodges very quickly. Get the mage out while... Basically, I'm getting just the ticks up here a little bit. So we get the mage out, and it actually lands as well, which is pretty nice. As soon as I get those up a bit more. So here, I Mirror Blades, which when it hits, which is a ranged ability, and when it hits him, it creates a clone, which I then instantly shatter. What you can do as well is it can like bounce between, you know, it will give might to an ally and then come back in, and you can do very, very good even from super far range. It's really nice to land those. It doesn't quite kill him, but we get a lot of damage here, especially with the autos. And I cast the Berserker. So that's not obstructed. It's created a Berserker there. He uses his shield 5, which CCs the Berserker for a second. And then it moves in. Actually, I think maybe it didn't CC the Berserker. Anyway, so it kills him back there, which was pretty awesome feeling, to be honest. Because that's a brilliant kite spot. And he was well up in it. And we managed to kill him from the node. Thief comes in, steals plasma, but can't do anything. And now you just see kind of, you know, we were butting heads against a lot of really nasty scenarios earlier, and the game kind of opened up and unlocked as soon as they were unpicked a little bit. This is Elixir S on the Hollow, so I'm pulling far away because he's just going to burst me from it. So I just need to wait. I cover the rest. So I don't want to run super far away from the node because I don't want it decapped, and I also don't want a really transparent walk back towards him. So I stealth about a second before he's going to reveal, which gives me the advantage because I'm the second one out, right? So I can kind of take my leisure a bit. I could even chain this with a massive invis. I'm not going to be that spammy with the cooldown though. And this also means I get to stay close enough that when we're fighting, I get to stop the node immediately decapping before I get a plus from my Daredevil or whatever. So he uses the 5 and we dodge. We swap straight to Greatswords. Attempt to burst, but he dodges. Should probably start focusing. What I do often when I'm on fresh air is probably like bait cooldowns and think about what they're doing. I don't tend to do it on this build so much. Anyway, so he's he uses his wall, but then goes into S and kind of loses value on the both. I was going to wait for S to end and then walk into my mirror, but A, he obstructed, B, it dissipated. Enemy Daredevil comes in, so we just play really conservative and we just kite out as much as possible. So here you see I distorted with a few clones. So you can actually ambush away multiple times without spending any endurance as long as your distort was long enough. And that's what you saw there, which is why I actually get 3 in a row, and I could have gone even further than that. And I am scared of the Thief, so I'm pulling back until I get combat break. And then I'll re-engage. Here I stay for the mirror at the end of the thing just in case, but I think he reappeared on the minimap somewhere at that point. Coming back forward because I've been very low impact for a while. It's starting to feel a bit more like the start. This guy's been getting pressured really hard, my ally, and I notice he's got Condi. He actually has 10 Torment on him right now. So now I'm going to mass invis. He started stealth. So he stealth blinked out, and then I cover him with mass invis again so that he can run off. He had to stand still for a second there because of Torment. But that allows him to peel fully out. Then we've got the Hollow. Pretty easy kill there. Mage critting for 3k. Mage has been doing some work there. And now we can reclaim mids. And then it's like, oh, now you got to do a 1v1 versus a Thief. Because we helped our Mirage out a second ago. He can come in like the cavalry. And the Thief's outnumbered and can't really do anything. I mean, he can chain his own evades for a very long time. But yeah, and now we'll deal with this fight. And we've pretty much won the game with that. Actually, my Mirage goes down super fast. So I do Illusion of Life him at the very end. Look, we get one, guys. Right at the end of the game, baby. And all we got to do... And he goes for the bailout, so I just come with him. This bailout is so aggressively quick, it's almost bad because the enemy team can react to the fact that we've left. But yeah, he hides in the cave for it as well. So yeah, and then there you go. We get victory, top kills, the end stats as they scroll through here. There we go. Are 12 and 0 with 1 revive, which is not really a revive. It was right at the end of the game. Somewhat near the Plat 3 border. Pretty fun stuff. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you for another one very soon.